The office was just like every other doctor's office. Gray plastic furniture, including multiple chairs, a coffee table that only held magazines, and a plant that looked more plastic than real, but was somehow the only living thing in the office. Sitting underneath a surrealist painting of stars in a purple sky, Ethan looked around the office. There was a sign that told him to sit and that the doctor would be with him shortly. Well, he was already sitting because there was no reception desks and the only other door had no doorknob on it. There were a couple of other patients. One was a very old man who kept staring into middle space. He looked like he had no thoughts and no awareness. If Ethan didn't know any better, he would have said that the old man was afraid. In a different chair, there was a middle-aged woman with copper-colored glasses, golden eyes, and a librarian's blouse who was talking to herself. Her hair was as white as snow, and her skin looked more wrinkled than a pear. She was talking mostly under her breath, but Ethan could still pick up on a few words. No, not my time yet. He sees me. Why am I here? Not my story. Not her time yet. Type yellow. Formidivore. Whispering on and on, Ethan's thoughts faded for a moment until he heard a familiar phrase and his name. Ethan, does the black moon howl? She asked. Ethan looked at her, and sure enough, she was staring at him. The old man was also staring at him. All of a sudden, the office felt less familiar and more like something was very, very wrong. How did you know my name? He asked her, and her eyes looked like they were shining even more. It even looked like her glasses were glowing from her eyes. Does the black moon howl? She asked him again, and Ethan felt a familiar chill creeping down his spine. He was going to get hurt if he didn't tell her the answer she wanted. He recalled dimly from his grandmother's words what the correct answer was. No, Ethan responded, hoping that was the right answer. The woman tilted her head and then stood straight up before turning to the door and walking out. Her stance was meter stick straight, and after walking out of the building, she merely walked away. When Ethan turned to the old man, he too was just staring into space. So clearly, whatever Ethan said seemed to have caused the situation to de-escalate. Still, this was not a situation that should have happened. While his heart was finally slowing down, the door opened and the doctor was standing in the doorway. Ethan Lastaname, Dr. Noctis will see you now, he said in a bored voice that seemed universal for all doctors. Leading him down the hallway to the doctor's office, specifically the examiner's room, Dr. Noctis examined his clipboard, not even bothering to look up at Ethan. His lab coat dragged across the ground as Ethan sat down on the examiner's table. Numerous lights and stainless steel instruments that Ethan didn't recognize were hovering over his head, connected to the ceiling through those series of metal arms. But they definitely looked more like they belonged in a butcher shop rather than in a psychologist's office. So, Shannon's been telling me you've been having nightmares and hallucinations. Is that accurate? Dr. Noctis asked, still not looking up from his clipboard. Patience forms must have been more fascinating than patients, Ethan thought. Well, her name is Sharron, but yeah, more or less. But I'm sure if they're hallucinations or if I was just tired. I mean, I was at work all day and I didn't see a single thing, Ethan told him. A single hallucination, as far as you know. Hallucinations can still occur even if you don't notice them. Someone calling your voice, seeing a container is half full when it's really half empty, mishearing your doctor call your girlfriend Shannon when he really said Sharon, the doctor said with more than a little passive aggression. I'm sorry that I misheard you, doctor. but I still don't think that can really count medically, does it? You aren't the doctor, and you cannot tell me what is or isn't a symptom, Ethan. So let's start simple. Describe how the hallucinations make you feel. Well, it started as a nightmare. I thought that Sharron told me a story, but she denied that. It feels scary when it happens because I feel like I am in danger. Okay, so you said that it made you feel scared. Can you elaborate on that? Well, I guess a fear of monsters makes sense. We do live in River City, and the stories are not. Where do you think this fear comes from? I want you to tell me about the fear itself. I need to gauge how bad it is before I can subscribe to the right kind of medication. Did you mean to prescribe the right kind of medication? Subscription is usually something related to don't correct a doctor. Now tell me, how does that fear taste? Taste? Well, I guess I feel like I'm prey. You know in the documentaries that they say a predator's gaze can freeze a prey animal? It's like that. It isn't actually turning me to stone, but the part of my brain that says fight or flight is gone. And all that's left is to freeze. It's really invasive, like it's coming from outside my mind and drilling into my brain. Like something is sinking its fangs into your temples? Yeah, exactly. Please continue. Well, earlier today, I saw the hallucination in the mirror, and something was much worse about it than any nightmare. It felt like it was controlling me through the reflection. At the time, I wasn't even sure if I was real, or if I was actually its reflection. I even tried the 5-word test on it and it didn't work. The 5-word test, you know, does the black moon howl? That old nursery rhyme everyone learns? What the hell is a black moon? Ethan felt a different shiver crawl up his spine. He remembered a bit more of what his grandmother used to tell him about the black moon. And he also remembered something else from earlier that very day. The reflection responded the same way that the doctor just did now. And the other fact from his grandmother that he only now was just remembering. Every creature on Earth has heard of the black moon. If they've never heard of the black moon, they're not from here, Ethan squeaked out. Dr. Noctis decided just now to look up from his clipboard, and something was very wrong. Underneath the white doctor's cap was a head mirror reflecting Ethan's face back to it, and below the head mirror was the same dark blue tone Ethan saw earlier today. You look like you're panicking, Ethan. Is the scary alien in the room with us right now? You are the alien. Oh, Ethan, it's just a hallucination. By thinking about it, you triggered the event. All you had to do is follow Sharron's advice and not think about it. Remember, aliens are vain, and they want you thinking about them. How would you possibly even know that? Sharron didn't actually say that. Oh, you're hallucinating, Ethan. I know everything you know. I'm not really real. Besides, if I was real, you would be in a lot of trouble, because then you would only just now notice that you are strapped down. Ethan looked down, and sure enough, his arms were chained down to the table. How did he even get chained up without noticing? Why am I chained up? I thought this was all a hallucination. You're chained up for your own safety. When I noticed you were hallucinating, I had you chained up so you wouldn't lunge at me. So tell me about the alien you see. What is it doing? Well, it's standing where you are standing. It's putting down the clipboard, and now it's approaching me. The mouth is open really, really wide, and now it's a few centimeters from my face. The mouth is only a few centimeters from my face, and I think it's going to bite me. Ethan finished. shutting his eyes tight, but nothing bit him. He remembered the alien doctor, just a few centimeters away from his nose. The teeth closed quickly, and what looked a lot like venom leaking from the tips of the hollow teeth. Now, his eyes closed, Ethan could hear and see nothing. After a few moments, he opened up his eyes and saw he was now strapped down on the examination table. Straps on his arms and legs and chest now, the paper crinkling against his back. The lights above him were blinding, but he could still see the eyeless abomination that was Dr. Noctis leaning over him. The reflective head mirror still showing Ethan his own terrified face. Beneath the head mirror, the doctor's lack of eyes showed no emotions, but thankfully his craggy mouth was covered with a paper surgeon's mask. His face mere centimeters away from Ethan, but his voice was still as bland and uninterested as ever. Ethan, to fix your hallucinations, all you have to do is not think about it. Don't think about the aliens, and they won't bother you. But all you do is keep thinking about it. But lucky for you, I do know how to fix it. The thought is in your mind, and your mind is in your brain. So all I have to do is remove your brain. For the first time, Dr. Noctis's voice carried a hint of genuine excitement. Oh, there is nothing as delicious as gray matter swimming in epinephrine, adrenaline, and that sweet fear. You are marinated to perfection, little human. The doctor's head disappeared for a few precious seconds and returned with the largest needle that Ethan had ever seen. It was thick as a pencil, with a syringe that looked like it was still dirty. Splashes of blood and some kind of yellow substance were still swirling around in it. Oh, I hope you don't mind sharing, but I don't have a lot of equipment today and I cannot have you passing out. It taints the taste. The vile doctor spoke as Ethan felt something sharp begin to push into his right temple and push on the inside of his right eye. Ethan didn't know he was able to scream as loud as he did. When the darkness came, one of his last thoughts before losing consciousness was, I thought the brain wasn't supposed to feel pain. When Ethan came back to consciousness, he was sitting on the examination table. No chains, and all the bright lights were off. Dr. Noctis was back at his clipboard, and there was a bandage at Ethan's right temple. Okay, so take this script up to the pharmacist across the hall. He'll get you some Sebocap, and that'll reduce your anxiety. Anytime you experience a hallucination, take a pill as soon as you can. If you run out, come back as soon as you can. The doctor finished, still not looking up from his clipboard. What are you talking about? I thought you were tying me down. What's with my head? Ethan said, touching the bandage gingerly at the side of his head. It still felt sore, and the vision of the giant pencil-sized needle digging into his skull all through his temple was still fresh. The doctor sighed. I was afraid of this. You had a panic attack when I asked you to describe your hallucination. After hyperventilating for 10 minutes, you then fell down, and your head hits the side of the table. I bandaged your cut on the side of your head, and when you calmed down, I started telling you about the Sebocap. It seems like whatever this is, the hallucinations and nightmares are caused by you thinking about it. So keep your thoughts light and take the Sebocap whenever you think about you see something. It'll keep your anxiety down, which will keep your hallucinations from getting bad, which helps lower your anxiety. If it doesn't work, call me right away. Dr. Noctis finished. Ethan nodded, rubbing his arms and still feeling the tight chains. It even looked red around on his wrists, like it was rubbed by metal chains. What about my wrists? Any idea why they're red and scraped up? Ethan asked, hoping for an equally rational reason behind those marks. Dr. Noctis still didn't look up from his clipboard. Ethan, your arms aren't scraped up nor are they red. You're just imagining it. If your problems continue like this, we may need to consider more extreme treatment. Maybe even withering heights. Ethan gulped at that statement. Wuthering Heights was a prison designed for eximi and typicam of extreme mental illness who were considered a major threat to those all around them. Built around the graveyard, and the treatments were often very extreme, including burying patients under grave dirt to make them forget their fears of being buried alive. Ethan definitely did not want to even think about what kind of treatment that Surgeon Slaughter would devise for him. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize. I'll get going, Ethan said, getting up quickly and leaving the doctor's office, heading over to the pharmacist. After Ethan left, Dr. Noctis took out his phone and sent a text to another patient of his, one that was close to him, and asked him to see Ethan personally. Your boyfriend is very jumpy. I think he's a perfect candidate. The only text he got in response was a smiley face emoji, the one that was missing any eyes. When Ethan was outside, he made his way to his car. The pill bottle given to him by the pharmacist was bigger than the bottle for daily vitamins, and the pills were smaller than the sprinkles on cupcakes. Still, they were broadly displayed with the word SIBO-Cap. So, very clearly, these were the real deal. At his car, Ethan saw a business card tucked underneath his windshield wiper. At first a little upset, he picked up the card, about to throw it away, but something about it caught his eye. The card had a small red circle with a golden crown in it, and the words Red Prince Supernatural Detective on it. Flipping the card over, there was a phone number and a tagline. No one else believes what you see? Haunted by something that doesn't want to leave? Free consultation. Ethan saw it, and a dim flicker of something in his chest occurred. A sense of hope in a cage of fear. Taking his phone out, Ethan took a big risk and dialed the phone number on the card.